Hello, guys. Hello, guys. Good evening to those of you who are in my part of the world. Good morning, good day to people far away in distance, but really close to us in heart and thoughts. Please let me know if you can hear me and you can see me well. Greetings to Shabona Lake Oblast friends. You know I love you very much. Greetings to Quebec. And I am really happy to be with you and with our beautiful team, Martin, Spencer, Rudy, and so many friends from very different corners of the world. Saturday with you. You've mentioned Saturday with Anna, and I will say Saturday with you is always a blessing, and I'm very happy to be with you. Hello, Yoda. Happy to see you here. And Scott and Chris and Привіт в Німеччину. Greetings from Germany. Greetings to Minnesota. Північна Кароліна, Liverpool, California. Las Vegas, baby. That's cool. Thank you so much for coming. Greetings to Denmark and so many Massachusetts, Oxford. I'm really blessed and very grateful. Iowa, Texas, Georgia, Alaska, and Lake of Annecy, France, Denmark. Thank you so much. Wales. Love you guys. And greetings to all of your beautiful places. I am finally home. And today we will discuss things important like no negotiations with Russian criminals. That's an absurd, but they start spreading these thoughts. And I will try to clarify you why even those who still consider it is possible should not consider it. Greetings to Yorkshire and Sweden and Geneva and the Netherlands and the Philippines and Canada. Really happy to see you. Greetings to Greece. Thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you so much, William. You are a friend, and I'm always happy to start a stream with your message and coffees. Greetings to Darling and Ontario and so on. So I'm finally back home. And I'm really happy to be here. You know, honestly, whenever a Ukrainian is traveling abroad, there are lots. Greetings to Poland. Yesterday, I was in Krakow, very beautiful city. I have always loved it. So, okay, I hope everything. What about the sound? Because Ralph says he has some troubles with the sound. Let me know if you can hear me well. Greetings to Ireland and Malta and Canada and Slovakia and Budapest, a very beautiful city. Scratchy sound. Okay, bonjour. I hope everything will be fine because the connection seems okay here. And I see that some people say that sound is okay, others that it's cracking. I'm sorry, but like all the microphone, everything is up. But hopefully it will be a little bit better. Yeah, greetings to Sweden, and I'm very proud that we share the colors with you. And sometimes when traveling with a Ukrainian flag, I may hear like, oh, Sweden! I don't mind because both of our countries and cultures are really great. So I am finally back home, and it was a difficult but important trip. And you know, whenever a Ukrainian is traveling abroad, there are lots of jokes and people saying like, "Will you come back? Will you come back? Well, you actually can stay." And I love traveling. I love discovering your countries. I love connecting with people. I very much love and work hard to introduce Ukraine closer to the standards of the European Union, to develop networks and contacts and translate the things I can here inside Ukraine. Greetings to Mexico and Devon and Greater London. So I always use these opportunities when I feel it's important, but at the same time, I always want to come back home. How do you think? What shall we start? My brief updates from my business trip to France, which some of you guessed when I started using voila in my videos. So I will try bringing the microphone a little bit lower. Greetings, Trav. Happy to see you. And I know the trip is coming. Greetings to Santa Barbara. You know, we loved watching this series here in Ukraine. It was a part of my like growing up. And I remember how much like my grandparents loved watching it. I was perhaps really, really young then. I'm trying to fix the microphone. It's near me. It's not just like the one. I'm a girl. I'm not using this military style stuff that some guys like. Hopefully, so the trip or negotiations, because I think there are some important observations in my trips, because, you know, like being inside Ukraine, it's always good to look from what's happening from outside. Because like I do have a lot of information that you provide me with, Helsinki, but at the same time, there are things that you can only experience when you are traveling abroad. But there is also a very important topic of negotiations that keeps reappearing in the speeches of the Russian dictator, who still tries to influence some people who are like, I don't know, who do not want to think a lot about the meaning of the word peace and simply take it as, I don't know, like absence of war for a certain period of time. I'm sorry if the connection is not that good, but it seems fine on my side. So hopefully. Okay. Greetings, Eric. Happy to see you. And I'm sorry if there will be some problems with connection. You know, it's just like life in Ukraine. And the more like I was outside, the more I wanted back home, but the more I felt I see the difference, a great difference between the lifestyle right now in Ukraine and greetings to London and Lithuanian friends. So perhaps then let's start with serious topics like negotiations, and then I will speak a little bit about my trip to France and my work in France with very beautiful people. But honestly, hello to Sweden. If I could express beautiful French people and what I liked most about them, observing them in work situations and in like life situations, that they live, they like living, and they let others live the way they want. So they are super polite. They do not interfere in the way you see your life. And that's very nice. Like, I liked it how like no one is surprised whatever other people are doing. So this is really great. Greetings to all the beautiful people. I'm really happy to read when you say oblasts. And Nail, my dear friend, thank you for cheering people to like. If you like these videos, please do. And I'm happy to see Michael with us. And remember to join my Discord. Because we have a beautiful community there, and I'm sure Michael or Martin can share a link if you're not yet there. So, what is really, greetings to Norway, what is really absurd that this week Putin was, from my perspective, too active on an international arena, and it is actually crazy that a criminal, a war criminal, a dictator, a person that International Criminal Court issued an order, a warrant to arrest him, and he travels to Mongolia, a country that signed Rome Statute. Greetings to New York. And it's insane. Martin has shared that Discord link, and it's insane that he travels and Mongolia does not arrest him when all the eyes are on this situation. Of course, I knew he would not be arrested. That's obvious that before his visit, they did some awful criminal preliminary work, and they have chosen a country that is very much under the influence of Russia and under the influence of the former Soviet Union. I've read that lots of people in the leadership of this country are former communist supporters, which is always a problem. So they have perhaps did some preliminary work, and then when you read the comments of the leaders of Mongolia who say we could not arrest Putin because of our economic dependency. This is such a slap on the face. Let me know if that's a correct word to say. It's really disgusting and very disrespectful. Because it's just like saying we cannot imprison this serial killer because he also works as a doctor and supplies his family, and he has, children at school, he has wife with no work, so we cannot imprison him, let his children graduate from the university, and then we will imprison that. This is totally absurd and insane. And why Putin decided to travel to Mongolia? Obviously, he did not need this visit greatly. The fact that they have commemorated something, commemoration is a good thing, but you very well know that global leaders, even if they are orcs and criminals, they do not travel just for the sake of some commemoration. And it was a planned visit to demonstrate disrespect and to humiliate international law. That was a plan to demonstrate to China, to India, to other countries that International Criminal Court is nothing. Okay, there is an order. Countries that have signed Roman Statute are supposed to arrest him. But no, here he is. And this is no, Poland unfortunately does not shoot down missiles above Ukraine, but what is worse, I'm answering a question, Poland does not shoot down missiles and drones above only drones above itself, which is totally insane. Thank you so much, Ed, for buying me coffees. And that's very bad. I will speak about that too, because I feel it's important. But let me come back to Mongolia. So this visit was carefully planned only to demonstrate to other countries who are neutral or supportive of Russia, to people who support Russia in countries of the global south, for example, to demonstrate them that all these international institutions, they are not working. And there is an international criminal court, but what? It can do nothing, and Mongolia did not arrest Putin. And what consequences will come to Mongolia? I'm sure nothing. And this is pathetic. And hello, Jimmy, happy to see you. And remember to like the stream so that more people can join our community. So, okay, Mongolia is a landlocked country struck between Russia and China. Can expect them to arrest Putin. They could do something not to let him in. I know similar situation was with South Africa, where some politicians support Russia and Putin, but they clearly knew it's not okay. to disobey the rules of the International Criminal Court, and they were doing everything for Putin not to come to BRICS meeting, and Putin did not come. So if you feel that you are a weak, landlocked country between two dictatorships, you do everything for Putin not to visit you. That's an option. And I'm sure if they would explain that we are ready to arrest you, he would choose not to come. And it looks, if you translate it from this fake escalation, dependency language into normal language, it looks like we need money, so we will not. Thank you so much, Michelle. It looks like we need money, Russian money, so we will not arrest Putin. And that's how the modern world operates. And you know, when we had this very strong reaction, thank you so much, Custom Fantasy, for the sponsorship. It means a lot. And thank you so much, Lucas, for buying me coffees. All your support is very much valued. Thank you. I'm honestly blessed to have you. So another important thing that we forget about, and one of the main tasks of Putin's war against the West, as he describes it, is to demonstrate to the world, hello Mark, is to demonstrate to the world that all these international organizations, they are not working, they are fake. And I remember that in Ukraine, after this Putin's visit to Mongolia and no serious reactions, like everyone is condemning, everyone is concerned. One of Ukrainian vloggers posted a message on Facebook that I totally support, and he was analyzing there all of these international organizations and how they don't work. And he compared United Nations to a very expensive platform where representatives simply quarrel, but actually after Rwanda, they do not decide anything. And all you can see is those very expensive UN representatives traveling somewhere saying, oh my God, this is so awful. Oh my God. And that's nothing. OSCE is evil. I guarantee you that. Every Ukrainian knew that, because back in greetings to Hungary, because back in the times of 2014, 2015, even when Russia first attacked Ukraine and war actually started. And very good question, by the way. Start Trupian. How do they work if Russia is allowed to commit war crimes without any consequences? Actually, this lack of consequences is a very big consequence for all the security in the world. So this United Nations, what they do, they simply travel, they express their concerns, and they are not working. OSCE, there were a lot of Russians in OSCE structures. There were lots of Russian representatives there. And Ukrainian troops all very often reported that after the visit of the OSCE to their positions, they had very serious hits on that positions. Can you guess why? Because some of these Russian representatives in the OSCE perhaps reported these positions. That's why many people in Ukraine, close to the front lines, actually did not want any help from the Russian representatives or representatives of the countries that support Russia in OSCE. Then what else do we have? Red Cross. I know many of you support initiatives by Red Cross, and the very idea of it, thank you so much, Scott, and remember to hit like. And there are lots of good things that were done by the Red Cross, but right now they are not active at all. They prefer to sit at the computers, drawing statistics, and they do not discuss anything with people. They do not try to come in contact with prisoners of war. All they do, they can come and say, oh, we are so terrified at the conditions in which Ukrainian prisoners of war are kept in Russia. Your task is not to get frightened. Like I'm an ordinary Ukrainian civilian. Russian trolls always ask me why I'm not in the trenches, but in reality, we are not like conscripted women. And there is no demand for women in the Ukrainian armed forces, though there are many beautiful, strong volunteers. But as an ordinary Ukrainian civilian, I can express fear. I can express concerns, but it's not the task of people who are in the Red Cross. Like decades ago, they were the ones to come to the front lines, to come to the military. Thank you so much, Neil. To come to the military hospitals where it is really dangerous, to try and get out of captivity prisoners of war. And right now, they simply provide statistics and express concerns. And then we have a lot of international organizations that are so weak. And if you look at the budgets that they have, and you compare with the expenses on the support of the Ukraine, hello, Run Forest. So in general, it's obvious that they are not working. And to some extent, with his aggression against Ukraine, thank you so much, Tony, with his total disrespect, greetings to Seattle, with his total disrespect to international agreements, international laws, and so on, Putin has demonstrated, okay, your organizations, your agreements are not working. Another important thing, greetings to Czechia, another important thing, like United Nations, OSCE, Red Cross, just count the budgets of this organization, and there are many more that I'm not naming, I'm just saying about the biggest one. Thank you so much for your kind comments. And then when you look at this visit, it was simply to illustrate, and we can add International Criminal Court to this group of organizations that do not work. And it was also very, very symbolic that Putin, his first visit in Mongolia was to honor Chengiz Khan. I don't know if you know who that is, just like maybe you were lucky to live far away from the Golden Horde, but it was a tragedy for example, Kiev Rus, because Kiev was burned by Mongols, and Russia, what became modern Russia, what was very different from Kiev Rus, you may guess from the name. They became a vassal of the Golden Horde, and they started cooperating. Like when Ukrainian territories, Lithuanian, Belarus territories, they were fighting against this. Russians decided to join, and for them it was totally okay. So I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong with the microphone, because I have my ordinary microphone, and it won't be easy to fix it at this moment. So to some extent, we may say that we need, I don't know, perhaps we need new organizations or new world order or whatever, because they are not working. And I am very much afraid that with his attacks, with his drones coming to Poland, for example, we will see that NATO is not working. My microphone is as usual, so perhaps it's a problem of connection. I don't think it's a problem of the microphone, because my microphone is just on the very same place. I can start looking for another one, but it will I will need, I don't know, to take a pause or something. So it's not that easy. Let me know if it's possible or if it is unbearable. Then we can do something. No, microphone is not too loud. Because I have some people who say it's okay, and others who say it's a problem. But I honestly think it's that connection, not the microphone, because nothing changed with the microphone. It's just like as always for my lives. So I'm sorry for the connection. Unfortunately, it's actually good that we still have the connection, you know, with all of these things happening. But they visited the monument, they commemorated, thank you so much, Custom Fantasy, they commemorated Genghis Khan. And this once again reminds us that Russia is an ord and it actually acts as an ord. Thank you so much, Lawrence, and thank you someone for buying me coffees. And remember, Neil is a smart man who advises us to hit the like button. Thank you so much for your understanding. Honestly, I do think it's a connection. So I'm trying to be far away from the microphone, not to like breathe loudly or whatever. And so one of the tasks of Putin and people like him is to demonstrate that, okay, you democratic people, you built your organizations, but they are not working. You have your agreements, but we wipe our feet with your agreements. We disrespect your borders. We can do whatever we want. Guess why? Because we have nuclear weapons. This is absurd, and any appeasement of such behavior is a great mistake. That's why I hate any idea expressed by any political leader that negotiations with Russia are important at this moment in time. No. Actually, when thank you so much, Bruce, for buying me coffees and your support. And actually, when any good politician or Ukrainian politician say that we understand that every war ends with negotiations, we do understand that yes, any war ends with negotiations. But if we look at the Second World War, first, Hitler was defeated. Then he decided he does not want to be imprisoned, and I don't mind if Putin chooses his way. And after that, some negotiations and decisions can take place. In reality, hello, Lahinska, hello, sister, happy to see you. And it's insane to negotiate with a mass murderer, with a person who is accused of war crimes, who is accused of stealing children, which is Ukrainian children whose identities are changed. They are literally stolen, and that's a part of what UN classifies as genocide. So this is insane. And of course, when we mean that at a certain moment of time, negotiations are possible, but only after the defeat of Russia, imprisonment of Putin, and I don't know, reparations, not before that. And one of the most important things that oh my God, experiencing interference. Anyway, one of the important things that we forgot about is that Putin is not serious about negotiations himself. And thank you so much, Peach, for your beautiful words. It is just like he says that he's ready to negotiate. For example, recently on some Eastern Asian meeting, he was talking about that. but it is all to pretend, to demonstrate that he is a kind leader. And my channel actually helped me a lot. To thank you so much, Vasil. Yeah, coffee is never too much. You're right. One of the things that I observe with the channel, with our community, that allows me to see like more right now with so many people that support us from different parts of the world. Number one, many people get tricked with the word peace, because when you hear word peace, you always have what positive associations. It's just like greetings to Finland. It's just like love, bread, home, family. But peace is a very wide term, and a lot of things can be hidden. Greetings, Iris. A lot of things can be hidden behind this word. And Russian understanding of peace is that they can do whatever they want to a country they pick, and it won't be just Ukraine, it can be more, and that they can do whatever they want, and no one should object, because many centuries ago there was Russian Empire, there was Soviet Union, plus we have nuclear weapons. It doesn't work like that, because tomorrow China may say they want, I don't know, Austria, because they feel like they will be better with Austria. And they have nuclear weapons and Austria does not. Uh, that's why it's super important to fight and protect those agreements that actually help the world operate after the Second World War. And why is Putin, like, I know for sure that, thank you so much, Daniel. Why I know for sure that that Putin is just like not serious himself about these negotiations. For example, during his last speech on one of the meetings in Asia, he was talking about Istanbul and the meeting in Istanbul very quickly after the start of his invasion, full-scale invasion to Ukraine, and that he's ready to come back. But then we clearly remember that just a couple of weeks ago he was talking about like he needs Kherson, he needs Zaporizhia, and only if he gets two of these Ukrainian regions, he will be able to, I don't know, negotiate, which is insane, because these regions are Ukrainian regions under the control of Ukraine, and he wanted Ukraine to withdraw Ukrainian troops from Ukrainian regions. And it was not on Istanbul agreements and decisions. So he does not have, like, I know one of the observation that I see, that it is extremely important to understand that like different regions, different countries see the future differently. And I, for example, have, I don't know if you're watching me right now, people from India. I know that like there are some people who blindly support Russia, but there are also some people who simply do not understand the depths of the problem, and they share really good messages like everyone has to be friends, it's good to be friends, you are like brothers, and so on. And I see that they do not have this deep, thank you so much, Michael, understanding. They don't have yeah, because sorry, Austria, it was just an illustration. And it was like they see, we want peace for you, we want you to be happy, we want you to live happily with brothers. And if you say no, it sounds like, oh, you're an evil woman. But guys, brothers do not come to kill you. Brothers do not disrespect your life choices. I honestly think there are no brothers between nations. It's insane to use this metaphor. And many like people in India, they are not like they do not know a lot, and they want good. And then Putin comes out on the stage and he says, I want negotiations, I want friendship, I want to protect people of Ukraine from evil Americans. And it sounds like something good. And that's why it is so important to debunk Russian fakes and to demonstrate what Russia does on a daily basis. If this evil country has destroyed like literally 20% of your territory, turned it into a scorched land just because they say, no, there is no Ukrainian language, no, there is no Ukrainian people, that is insane. Then, for example, if you look at those territories that they say and describe as liberated, there is no more. There are no more of these territories. What they do, they simply wipe off everything and then get this land with just ashes. That's not the attitude of even an invader, because invaders, classical invaders, not just terrorists, they want this land for something. Thank you so much, Jake. Thank you, someone, and thank you, Oms. Thank you for your support. And so once again, I see that what Putin does with his messages about negotiations, he tries to deceive these people, these nations that are dependent on Russia, have long traditions with Russia, has long connections, and then they feel like, okay, Putin is not bad. He wants negotiations. It's Ukraine that does not want negotiations. When we are daily shelled, our families are killed, and we all know that if we forgive these crimes and pretend that nothing happened, and even if the war is frozen for a couple of months or a couple of years, it will continue, because as someone beautifully commented here above, is that if there is no consequences for these crimes, war crimes, why would Russia stop? Okay, let's just imagine for 2.5 years, and in total for more than 10 years, Russia destroys Ukraine. Russia kills best of Ukrainian people, those who went to protect it. Russia denies our right to become the member of the European Union or NATO. Russia says our language does not exist. Russia says we are just a part of their territory. Thank you so much, Jay. Thank you. And then we forgive it all and we say, okay, if you stop killing us, we will give you everything that you want. Why would Russia stop them? Why would Russia then stop? There is literally no difference it's just an encouragement. That's what Putin wants to demonstrate. Okay, you have issued an international criminal court warrant to arrest him, but here he is traveling to a country that is subordinate to the international criminal court, non-arrested. What he wants to demonstrate, okay, I was killing Ukrainians in thousands for 2.5 years, and what did I get? No, not imprisonment. No, not Moscow was bombed, but I got officially the territories of Ukraine. This would be crazy. So please, please, please never agree to these arguments, because they are insane. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you for your support. Sending you much gratitude from Ukraine. So also, I hated when people who know very little about 1,000 likes. Thank you so much. I also honestly hated when people, unfortunately, John, this is not a crying child. This is like a serial killer. It's just like, I'm a teacher and I like these illustrations. And it's just like, imagine you have a serial killer living in your town, then the police finds this serial killer, and he says like, okay, I promise I will stop. I feel like I need to kill 2 more people because I always dreamt to kill, I don't know, like 25, and now I'm 23. But after I kill this 25, I will stop, okay? And police says, okay, let's not escalate, because if we take him to prison, he may start killing in prison, or maybe he will escape from the prison and he will continue killing. And here we have an agreement with him. He kills 2 more people and he stops. That's exactly how it sounds. That's exactly how it sounds. And this is insane that so many, people. Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you so much. I haven't been in Budapest for quite a long time, and I love your city. It's a very beautiful place, and especially the bridges by night. Thank you. So I'm sorry, maybe that's a little bit of a primitive illustration, but that's what it sounds like. Now, another very interesting thing. I cannot find explanation for that. And okay, I will tell you, I will slowly introduce some aspects of my trip. It was a business trip on a project that works on the empowerment of women working in the sphere of cultural heritage. And that's me, because my NGO deals with that. And and my trip was like really long because you cannot travel directly from Ukraine. Well, by plane, there are no airfields in Ukraine. There was one in Lviv, really close to me. And now I have to go to Poland if I need to travel by air, because that's the closest way. And then later I traveled to France. I'm not a fan of flying, honestly. And those of you who were attentive and watched my video, I recorded one video. I will look it up right now, almost on my way back. And I was flying from back into Marseille in France. And I don't know if you have seen that. Perhaps it was Let Ukraine, Russia attacks universities in Ukraine or something. And it was already, or a frontline update perhaps. I was very close to airport and my flight was like a couple of hours away. And it was such a huge thunderstorm. It's just like insane. And I like, oh my God, I hate flying in thunderstorms. That's crazy. But like, to get to France, and France is really far away. You can travel by train, but I did not have time, and that would be more expensive, and the project money limited, and so on. So yes, the flashes. So that flashes, sister, were exactly a couple of hours before my flight, and I did not enjoy it at all. Like, I was recording that, and I wanted to tell you about the flight, but then I felt like, what if I will not make it? So I kind of did not like it at all. And there was another funny thing that, like, when I was on the plane already, they have invited an engineer to check something, and he delayed the plane for an hour. And I was like thinking, okay, there was thunderstorms, an engineer checking. I actually hope they will change us for another plane, but they didn't. So kind of, yeah, Marseille. How do I pronounce? Because in Ukrainian it's Marcel. Marcel. And it was so scary. But I will tell you a funny joke. Like, I was crossing the border with Poland on the day when actually a Russian drone crossed a border with Poland, and they did not manage to shut it down. And what is worse, they lost it. And I'm not sure if they have found it. If I have some subscribers from Poland, first of all, I love your country, and it's just like me being a little bit sarcastic. Second, a question: have they found this drone? And also, I kind of feel weird when non-fighting armies say that they are the best army in Europe. I think it's Ukrainian. I'm sorry. Thank you so much, Justin, and thank you for watching the channel. And thank you so much, Douglas. So, I was just like crossing the border, and like Ukrainians, we are not yet in the European Union. I always drink on the plane. I never fly sober. I'm sorry, that's the truth about me. So Polish air defense lost the drone that attacked, like to some extent, we may say attacked Poland. And greetings to Ghana. And it was interesting that, like, I had this joke on my mind that, like, when you cross the border and you are not an EU member, and you have to explain why are you traveling. So when they check your passport, when they scan your passport, they may, greetings to Italy and Liverpool, they may actually ask you, is it is it just like, what's the reason of your visit? And I had on my mind, like, I would say that I'm looking for your drone, like I'm a Ukrainian and I have come to help you looking for a drone. Because come on, guys. And it's insane how many patriots you have. Like, just one Polish city has more patriots than all of Ukraine. And you have like F-35s coming when you're not using them. And you cannot find a drone, or you cannot. And Russia sees that. They do see it. So I thought that, like, when they will ask me what's the reason of your visit, I'm saying I'm like a drone search team. We've decided to send some Ukraine. Well, I did not say it because, like, fortunately, people on the border are nice. But, like, do you know they take pictures, like, at the border and other stuff? Wow. Traditionally, for me, all these border controls, they were quite humiliating. But it is extremely interesting that on the very next day, or just like an illustration, you can draw your conclusions by yourself. Russian drones, during a severe drone attack on Ukraine, crossed the border with Belarus, that is their territory, that is very dependent on Russia. And what Belarus does? Shuts down Russian drones. And Poland does not do that. Why? And what was also interesting, as I was traveling, I was reading comments, and I was like, one of the reasons why they did not do it, because of special atmospheric conditions. And I was on that day in Poland, and I have never seen a clearer sky. It was just like, first of all, I live 80 kilometers from Poland, and typically the weather in borderline Poland is the same as the weather in my region. And I, like, literally know, and I know some of you good people who follow me on X, by the way, you may find the links in the description of the video. I share some things like that. But look, I understand, Yoda, but it is not an escalation when a foreign military vehicle is on your side. It's not that Poland shoots it down in Ukraine or Poland shoots it down in Russia. Poland shoots the thing that is flying in their skies and that is potentially dangerous for their people. So it is totally okay to protect your own people. How on earth can, like, Russian drone flying in Polish skies, is it okay? Because if you do not shoot it down, then it is okay. So it means, like, okay, we will not shoot down Russian drones because that's an escalation. So then when Russian tanks come, you should not shoot them down too. That's also an escalation. And when, just like, this is a defense of Poland on Polish territory. I'm not saying about it somewhere else. This is a defense on Polish territory. Yeah, sleeper trains is always a good idea. And honestly, thank you so much, Pat. And thank you so much, Ken. And thank you so much, Justin. Time to drink some coffee. So, thank you so much, Jake. But, like, Guys, you need to demonstrate that you are ready to defend yourselves. That's vital for your survival too. Don't be afraid. Like Russians clearly know it's, like in the normal world, in the healthy world, it would be a huge diplomatic scandal and a great trouble for Russia, not for Poland, for Russia that their drone crossed the border of Poland. It is Russia who's escalating. It is Russia's who does this problem. This is like, guys, could be Poland does not want to expose its defense, but the drone, like, first of all, it's exposed. Like, I hate it when people say me just like, okay, Ukrainian school was targeted by Russian orcs, perhaps they have spies and someone spoke. We live in the 21st century. We live with Google Maps. We live with satellite images. The day when Ukrainian drones burn Russian oil refineries, in the evening, we already see satellite images of these burnt oil refineries. So it goes without saying that Russians know where Ukrainian schools are, same as Ukrainians know where Russian schools are. And I can Google where you live if you give me, and I will see your house. And if I keep watching it, I may see you getting out. Like this funny stories when a wife divorces a husband because on Google View she saw him hugging someone. Thank you so much, Alms. And everything is visible. So of course Russia knows where Polish patriots are standing. It's not a secret. It's actually an illustration of power. And the fact that they are able to shut down the drone that illegally crossed the border is the demonstration of strength and preparation. How can it be treated like, guys, demonstrating weakness, hiding from problems is not something that shows you're superb. It's just like, it reminds me, this idea that they don't want to show, they don't want. Thank you so much, Iman, for being with us and being always with us. It's just like, now Putin says this BS, total BS. That they say that Kursk operation is a trap. We decided to let Ukrainians in. No country will ever allow foreign army to enter its territory, cross its border, humiliate its sovereignty, and take control over its settlements. It is never a trap. A trap, Russians can make traps for Ukrainians on the front lines of the territories they wanted to invade, for example. That is a trap. That is like, in Kursk region, it's not a trap. It's an epic failure. And one of the things that is actually very disinforming about Russia, and they think it is their great strength, but in reality, this is their extreme weakness. And they always pretend that everything is fine. I watched one analysis of this Putin's recent speech on some Vostochny forum. I don't remember exactly the name of that meeting or something like that. But he was speaking about this Kursk operation, how actually it supported Russian morale and how good it is and so on. And you know what? In any of his, thank you so much, in any of his reports, in any of his answers, Putin, crazy little dying dictator, he has this nickname when he was a KGB FSB agent. Guys, it's not unilaterally invoking Article 5. It's shooting down a drone. Okay, I have a question. What should Poland do if a Russian drone is flying on its territory, from your opinion? What should Lithuania do if a Russian drone is flying on your territory? What is the best? Because it seems like the best way is to pretend nothing is happening. Do you know Russia does not see that? It's insane. You are allowed to down everything on your territory. It's not about Article 5. It's about protecting. Imagine there is a house close to the front lines. In that house, a family eats their supper. A Russian drone collapses on that house, killing the family. What will NATO country do? Pretend nothing happened and this family did not exist because they don't want to invoke Article 5 and don't want to provoke Russia and cause escalation so that more families will be killed? That's insane. It doesn't work like that with Putin. You have all the rights to down and even cause troubles to the country that sent it. Okay, just imagine a Ukrainian drone travels to Poland or travels to Lithuania. What will you do if a Ukrainian drone accidentally travels to your land? You will shoot it down, okay? Will Ukraine attack you tomorrow for shooting down our drone? No. What we will do? We will say, guys, we are very sorry. We were targeting Russia, but it happened accidentally. If it is okay. And no one in Ukraine will think that you have proclaimed us war. We will be sorry if it happens. Don't you see that? Why the rules are so different for Russia? Of course, you can smoke a drone in your own territory without Article 5. Article 5 is about attacking Russia. Shooting down drone on your own territory, in your own country. You are shooting in your own country. You are allowed to shoot in your own country. That's totally okay. According to this logics, like Polish soldiers should not train shooting because this is an escalation. Because why are you training? Why are you training? Are you getting ready for war? Then you are escalating. You should not train. I'm sorry, but that's what I think. It is not about Article 5. It's not about targeting Russia. It's not about even protecting Ukraine, which would be like okay for allies. It's about shooting a foreign flying object in your air, in your sky, protecting your land. I have just come from a holiday and I kind of like it because work in different environment, traveling and seeing things. Thank you so much, Yoda. Perhaps I was too emotional. So let's just go to level boy. That's very sweet of you. So let me tell you some things. The economy is okay. At least I don't feel any serious like troubles. Of course, there are lots of problems, and with constant destructions, it is very serious. But we do not like in the territories where there are fewer destructions, like everything is operating, hospitals, universities, banks are working. Thank you so much, Yoda. And there was a question from OMS, how Ukrainians are doing in Crimea and how Ukrainians are doing in other territories. I think you meant occupied territories. And that's tragic. And that's another thing why it's so important to liberate these territories. You know, people always speak about territories, and it's so wrong. If I were a diplomat, I would always stress these are people. These are people. These are their schools. These are their memories. You know, I've read an interview of one. Yeah. Look, sometimes we have electricity outages depending on the attacks on the infrastructure. Right now, they are not so severe. So when you speak about this 2 hours during a day, it's in the worst days. For example, today there were no electricity outages at all. Ukraine is very adaptable. It is our strength and unfortunately our curse because we constantly have to adapt. But I want to come back to this question about Ukrainians on the occupied territories. And I was reading an interview of one famous Ukrainian writer, and he was speaking about his small, like, I don't know if you have the equivalent of that in English, but in Ukrainian we have small motherland. Motherland, like big, is a country, and small motherland is your region from where you come. For me, Ukraine is a motherland, and Volyn, my region, is a small motherland. So just like if you have something like that, what would be the equivalent of that? And they were speaking. This writer, he was speaking about the place where he was born, and he cannot come home. It's not just hometown. I mean, like a bigger area, like a land, for example. If you come from Nice, like Francois, you are from the south of France, and this is your, like, it's different from, I don't know, Bordeaux, if I'm making mistakes. Thank you so much, Yoda. And thank you so much, Run Forest. And thank you, Pat. What I did not like about France, I'm sorry, is climatization. Sorry. They have, like in Ukraine, maybe because we have problems with electricity, we don't have that many conditioners at all. For example, in my flat, I don't have it. Yeah, I'm in Lutsk. And no, it's not gin and tonic, it's mineral water. Thank you so much, Jay. And it's just like, Francois, actually, you helped me to understand that, but it's so cold in your trains and in your buses in France. And that's what my Ukrainian body is not used to. I'm not feel like it was not the super cold, but, and also on the planes, it's so dry. Like I'm not made for flying. So I want to return back to the story about Ukrainians on the occupied territories. And this writer, he was speaking about his motherland, like his region from which he comes. And unfortunately, this region is under occupation. And once again, it was severely shelled. Thank you so much, Jaya. Oh my God, that's a huge support. Thank you. And it was just like, like they do in Vovchansk, what they do, they practice this scorched earth policy when they literally, they don't take these territories, they destroy everything, they turn everything into ashes and move. So he was speaking about the inability to visit his parents' graves, but what made him worse is that he knew that some of the bombs fell on the graveyard. And he was afraid they might have destroyed some of the graves. I know it's a harsh content, but that's the reality. And he was very much worried, but at the same time, they like he cannot visit the territory, he cannot check it. So a very important thing to understand that these are not territories. These are memories, these are homes, these are schools, these are places where children were born. These are graves of the parents. And those who say, oh, let's give up territories, no. And people who are waiting for Ukraine to liberate these territories, they are surviving. They are hiding their phones. They are hiding their real thoughts. They are in great danger. Russia tries to depict Ukrainian conscription as something very evil, and out of many beautiful stories, they pick up one or two and try to demonstrate it as a tendency in Ukraine, which is not true. But what is true that, for example, in Donetsk region, there are no men left because all of them, whether they want it or not, they all are conscripted to the Russian army. And that is another danger and a big problem, that if Ukraine is invaded by Russia, some people will flee, some people will be killed, but those people who are not very active, they are in every country present. I mean, there are 20-25% of active citizens and the rest are observing. So all of them are mobilized and they have no choice, or they are tortured. In every city that is under Russian occupation, they have something like a cellar, and they call it a cellar. So they will take you to a cellar, and I have seen just recently, I do not share that much of very harsh content, but I remember this was a Russian video of Russian, I cannot say orcs, I'm sorry, that's true. And they were saying that we came to a gas station, and this lady, she was very impolite with us, and she continued speaking Ukrainian with us. So we took her to the cellar with the boys, and she never went out. So what they do in the destroyed shelled houses, apartment buildings, they turn the cellars into prisons where they torture people, where they rape women, men, children. And it is the greatest fear and the greatest threat for people under occupation to get in the cellar. And this is honestly, guys, what happens, for example, if a person chooses to speak Ukrainian on the occupied territory. So imagine this woman working on a gas station in the country Ukraine, who actually was not a military. She was not a threat. She was not working on a NATO biolaboratory. Hope you guess I'm sarcastic. She simply continued speaking Ukrainian. It was very heroic of her. And I'm not sure she survived. And they like it. They describe it with such passion, and they invite more soldiers to come and enjoy it. That they can take someone, as they say in Russian, it sounds na podval, to take someone na podval in the cellar. They also use the labor of these people to do anything they want. And they break their will different ways, with torture, with total control, or, I don't know, threatening to take their children away. For example, right now, many people have to accept the passports of Russian Federation, and it's a huge problem, by the way, here, because we don't know how do we treat them in future. This is reported on, this is reported, but many people choose not to see some of these very bad things. And this guys recorded this video speaking about this woman, but how many stories are untold. I know how we all were terrified with this execution of Ukrainian prisoners of war, and this continues. But you know how many of them are not filmed, are not recorded happening in Ukrainian fields, Ukrainian forests. So that's another reason to, you cannot negotiate, you cannot forgive it, you cannot close your eyes that a person in the 21st century in a beautiful European country is raped and killed in a cellar by crazy Russian invaders because she speaks her language in her country. And that's an answer to those who say language does not matter. It matters a lot. In many Ukrainian cities, it costs life. West does not allow long-range missiles so far. You know, there is a bad joke like, guys, you are closing your own sky. You are protecting your own sky. Thank you so much, Marcus. So that's why, like, we have all the right, honestly, to call them orcs. Yeah, in Chechnya, the same. Like, and once again, Adam, if Russian crimes of Chechnya were punished the way they should, there wouldn't be Georgia, there wouldn't be Ukraine, because unpunished evil grows. There is no other ways to forgive it, to forget it, and it happens daily. So people are suffering. For the book that I'm finishing, hopefully, I started inserting some interviews because I consider it makes it more real and more like interesting, not just my retrospective. And I intertwined it like with my narrative. And I interviewed a woman who was on the occupied territory, left it after a month, luckily, because otherwise she would definitely be killed. 100%. And she is from Melitopol. And it's so interesting, like, you know, I'm sharing with you my like writings inspiration, because if you translate Melitopol from Greek, it is the town of honey. Honey. And in Melitopol, they have a river that has a name, Milky. Thank you so much, Overcome with Good. Thank you for your support. So they have like a milky river in the town of honey, and the best sweet cherries in the world. And unfortunately, Russia does not simply want territories or lithium. Russia wants to destroy Ukraine because it cannot have a normal democracy that close to its borders. And Russian Empire always survived on the industriousness, creativity of Ukrainian people. That's why. So just imagine this really beautiful town of honey and milk now looted and raped by invaders, where people hide their phones. Do you know what they do? To like, because this Russian patrols, they stop people and they check phones, and if they find anything on your Telegram or else, they will take you into the cellar, and that's not what you want. That's why a very typical trick, what they do is they switch telephones, mobiles with their children. And it also impressed me a lot, because like if your telephone is totally clean, it's suspicious. So you need a telephone with some programs, with some stuff, but your children, they are not like on X and Telegram. So that's what they do. And that's insane. So yes, thank you so much, Scott, Neil, for cheering the likes, and Michael, and so many beautiful people with us today. And I will tell you a little bit about my interesting and horrible. That's what I try to put into the book, because I realize, honestly, when I start thinking, I realize how many insanely unusual things are happening in my life, even though it seems like more or less normal. So let me tell you about my trip, from an experience like of a person, of what it was just like happening. Well, first of all, on the day when I had to leave my house, we had an attack on my city. And it was kind of quite unusual because, I'm live in what is considered a semi-safe zone. And like you wake up and you have this busy day when you want to record additional video for the trip on the border, when you need to pack. I don't know why I have postponed it for the last day before the trip, and other stuff. And then it begins with explosions, like really loud explosions. You can hear scooters in the sky. It's always bad because scooters in the sky are drones. They produce the sound. And I clearly know I clearly know the sound of air defense. And when it's not air defense, people speak like, I don't know how it happens, but you do hear when the sound is like out, so you realize it is your part that is shooting. And then you can hear when it comes to you, and it's a bad sound. One more thing that this woman from the occupied territories made me think about is that, like she said, despite the free territory of Ukraine, on the occupied territories of Ukraine, we love hearing explosions, especially if we know they are coming from the side of the Ukrainian armed forces, because that's a sound of promise, that's a sound of hope. So I don't know how to explain that, but you can clearly hear this difference. So I felt like you clearly see like, doing good. No, we didn't make it. And I was sorry to hear that a man was killed. And he was in his apartment building, and these are just like old style apartment buildings, just like Soviet buildings. And he was somewhere on the upper floor, and he was 83-year-old man, peacefully living in his city quite far away from the front lines, was killed. Another thing what happens immensely immediately is no electricity and no water. Should I tell you, before you start a really long trip, you kind of plan shower will be the last thing you do before you exit your flat? So look, we will skip the details, but I was dissatisfied with that. Then I was traveling to Poland, learning that in Poland they could not catch Russian drone. And I had this joke on my mind that, like, I'm coming to Poland to help you find the drone, but they didn't ask me the reason of my trip. And it's also so crazy. Like, I have crossed borders many times. Greetings to Michigan. And it's insane because just like you see this weather, these trees, these houses, these people, because you can clearly see there is no big difference. But at the same time, the difference is huge, because the moment you cross this like centimeters, meters of border, you are in a totally safe place. And there are no air raid alerts, there are no curfews, there are no like problems that you experience. There are no blackouts. There is water. And happy that you joined us. And like, then I remember we have here inside Ukraine lots of jokes about like, before the start of war, many Ukrainians were very picky about what airport to fly from. Lviv, in Kiev, there were 2 airports, in Juliane and in Boryspil, and there were people literally who would pick their trip based on to which airport it is closer. And right now, We have to travel to another country to be able to fly. And literally, I don't see anything good flying in my skies. Well, F-16s sometimes. And it is an interesting thing. Like when you come to an airfield and you see so many, thank you so much, Bird Dog, and you see so many different aircraft in the skies and this smoke that they left. And it's interesting, it's weird. And like we were working really hard in France. I love this country. I will share maybe some photos later on Instagram. Remember to join me there. And I was working in Aix-en-Provence, and I also managed to see Avignon and Nîmes. And oh my God, I have fallen in love with Nîmes because I'm a huge fan of ancient Rome and Greece. And they have this amphitheater and a temple. And I was literally ready to like touch everything near that temple. I was crawling, I was touching it. It was insane. I don't know, like if there was something like if you believe in this like previous life experiences. So mine was definitely in the ancient Rome. I know it was a harsh reality, but I'm not a simple woman. So I have fallen in love with this country, and it's not my first time in France, but in this part of France. And but Nîmes is just like that's for me. If you are considering a trip to France and Nîmes, I greatly advise you to see it. And on the very last day, I like the work was really hard, and then I returned back to Poland. Thank you so much, Marcus. And the wine indeed is very tasty. And then I came back to Nîmes is very fantastic, and like the food, the people, the work, and I like the way they treat the work and other people. And the project we are working on has people from Ireland, Greece, Turkey, and Ukraine. And France, of course. France is the host. It's an NGO from Aix-en-Provence area. And at the same time, on my way back, I returned to Krakow. Krakow is also very beautiful, but as I've been to Poland many times, I have decided I will go to a shopping mall. I'm a girl, you know, guilty. Yeah, bought a couple of things. And there was one very funny thing because you know when I'm in Kiev, I also visit some shops, and I have some priorities among the brands that I like. But it will actually tell you a lot about life in times of war. I live in Ukraine, in Lutsk. I'm talking about my recent business trip that has finished. So, and I was just like in that mall, and I was thinking like, okay, first I have to go to this shop, then I have to go to that shop, because I like first shop more than I like the second shop, because if the air raid alert starts and they close the shops, and then I realize there are no air raid alerts in Poland, and they will not close the shops, because it's a common thing for me in Kiev to travel to a shopping mall that is like 2 hours away from where I stay. And it's a long trip because Kiev is a big city. And then you come, and in Ukraine, many of the shopping malls, unlike in many European countries, they are not close to a railway station. They are somewhere on the outskirts. And literally around that shopping mall, you have nothing. So when they close a mall in Kiev, what you do, and literally the majority of people are standing around the mall waiting for it to be open. And you're me is doing the same thing which is stupid because it's dangerous, but you don't have where to hide because not all shopping malls have parking lots. And they have nothing around. They have just the forest and highway. And I have been in such situations when you travel to hours, then you enter, let's say, Zara. You spend 5 minutes in Zara. And if I have girls watching me, ladies, 10 minutes in Zara is nothing. And then an air raid alert. And then you stand and you think, is it MiG? Because if it's MiG, it will last for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. But if it is a real attack, it may be very deadly, or it may last for 2 hours or 3 hours, and you never know. So this is really, really crazy. And I remember myself running. Martin. Too long for Martin. 15 minutes in Zara is too long for Martin. So you see, like our team is not based on Zara priorities, but other values. Anyway, I was just literally rushing in Krakow to the shop that I want because I thought it will be closed if an air raid alert happens. Another thing that many Ukrainians report is that we have this curfew, and at 12 o'clock I have to be home like Cinderella, because if I'm out or if I have to travel at night, it's a trouble. Like it's difficult to find taxi or something like that. So we always have this feeling like, oh my God, it's 12:15 after midnight. I have to hide. And why are these people walking on the streets of Krakow? And some worse things like the sounds of military funerals. I heard that in the morning after coming back. So this is a very surreal experience, because there is still a huge part of me that used to living in a beautiful, safe country, and a part of me that has to survive and fight for resistance and win in this war. And I'm very grateful that you are with me and that you support Ukraine and millions of our people in your countries, but most importantly here in our fight to stop Russian invasion, to defeat Russia, and to see Putin just like Hitler, because YouTube is too sensitive to name a spade a spade. Thank you. Also, I want to remind our beautiful community that unfortunately scammers can appear on any channel, and especially if the video has many views and comments, they come and they start saying, join me, come chat with me in Telegram or WhatsApp. I never do that. All the official pages of my other social media are in the descriptions of the video, and you can find them. I'm on X, Threads, Twitter, and Discord, and Instagram. But the links are in the description, and I never invite you to chat. Of course, there are no fan cards or other stuff. I never organize lotteries. Always check the name of the channel. If it is me as a comment or something, it is always just Anna from Ukraine. If there are some other symbols, dots, or bad English, because honestly, very often the scammers have really bad English. So please be careful and report the scammers. We do that with the beautiful team of my army. But whenever you are addressed by someone who wants to trick you, please report and help us protect those who are not that media literate or has just joined the channel, because I feel really bad when I have some people who tell me they had this experience. They write an email, please be careful. Yes, Martin is right that Discord is a good place to report scammers. Maybe you will send a link of Discord community once again. Also, please remember to join me on Instagram. I share more of everyday life there. and X and threads I keep for being more emotional whenever I have a reaction. Thank you so much, Trev, and see you soon. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you so much, Neil. Thank you so much, Yoda. Thank you so much, Martin, Spencer, Rudy, Pat, AJ. Thank you so much for being with me tonight. I'm really happy to be home. My home is a very unusual place, but all because of the Russian invaders. But I'm sure that together we will clean Ukraine from all that evil, and only after the complete defeat of Russia we will be better and safer on this planet. That is a very important illustration and defeat. And also, I want to remind you there will be one more video about beautiful detonation in Voronezh region. Remember to watch it after the live ends. One more vlog, because how can I not speak about the destruction of military warehouse in Voronezh tonight? By the drones. And you know, guys, you never know, those drones that we got for a NEFO campaign might be the drones that will set Kremlin on fire. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Martins. Thank you so much, Spencer, Michael. Thank you so much, Rudy. Thank you so much, Neil, and love you. Slava Ukraini.